What if the thing waking you up at night is not your bladder at all, but your brain refusing to let you sleep through it? Most people spend years trying to fix the wrong thing. They cut fluids, they adjust bedtime, they try different pillows, different routines, different teas, and still 2 in the morning, 3, 4. Here is what I want you to understand before this video is over. Waking up at night to urinate is not one problem. It is a symptom that can come from several very different places inside the body, some of them having nothing to do with the bladder, and some of them that medicine doesn't spend nearly enough time explaining to patients. Tonight, I am going to walk you through what those causes actually are, which one is most commonly missed, and what the science says about supporting the body's ability to sleep through the night, not by forcing it, but by giving it what it needs to regulate itself. I am Dr. Ava Collins, and this is the Eternal Vigor Way, where we go past the surface and into the biology that most appointments don't have time to reach. Stay with me, because around minute 7, I'm going to share something about the timing of your nighttime awakenings that will change the way you read your own body's signals. It surprised me the first time I encountered it, and I think it will stay with you too. It surprised me the first time I encountered it, and I think it will stay with you too. Let's begin with something I want to say clearly, because it matters medically, and it matters for everything that follows. Waking up at night to use the bathroom, a condition called Nocturia, has multiple causes, not one, several. And they are different enough from each other that treating the wrong one will never work, no matter how consistently you try. The most commonly recognized causes fall into a few categories. First, there are bladder-related issues, reduced bladder capacity, overactive bladder, or in men, prostate enlargement that creates pressure and urgency even when the bladder isn't full. Second, and this one is underappreciated, there are sleep disorders. When sleep is shallow and easily disrupted, the threshold for waking becomes very low. People with sleep apnea, for example, often wake multiple times a night and attribute it to their bladder when the real driver is interrupted breathing, pulling them out of deep sleep. The bladder just happens to be what they notice first when they're awake. Third, there are systemic conditions. Diabetes, for instance, causes the kidneys to produce more urine overall, including at night. And heart conditions can cause fluid that pools in the legs during the day to be reabsorbed and processed by the kidneys at night, producing a higher urine volume precisely during sleeping hours. So if you are waking up multiple times every night, the first honest question to ask is not what supplement should I take. It is which of these is actually happening in me, because that changes everything about the right response. Now, within this picture, there is one layer that rarely gets enough attention, the role of the brain itself in managing the experience of nighttime urination, and that is where I want to take you next. Here is something that took me years of clinical practice to fully appreciate. The brain is not a passive passenger during sleep. It is actively managing your body's signals, deciding which ones are urgent enough to wake you and which ones can wait until morning. During healthy deep sleep, the brain does something remarkable with bladder signals. It doesn't ignore them, it suppresses them. The brain receives the information, yes, there is some urine, evaluates it, and decides, not yet. Sleep continues. You never even know the moment happened. This is a real neurological process. It requires the brain to be in a sufficiently deep state of sleep, and it requires the signaling pathways between the bladder and the brain to be properly regulated. When that suppression fails, when the brain can no longer hold those signals at arm's length, even a partially full bladder becomes an alarm loud enough to wake you. Now, what disrupts that suppression? This is where it becomes important to be precise. It is not purely a chemical deficiency. Anxiety, chronic stress, and sleep disorders are fundamental drivers, not minor background factors. When the nervous system is chronically activated, when the body has learned to stay on guard because of unresolved tension or disrupted sleep architecture, the brain's ability to suppress non-urgent signals is genuinely compromised. The nervous system is too alert to let anything pass quietly. This is not a personal failing. It is a physiological state, and it can shift, but only when we address it honestly, at the level where it actually lives. That said, there is a nutritional piece to this story that supports the nervous system's ability to regulate itself, and that is where thiamine comes in. I'll explain it now, but stay with me because there is a critical distinction I need to make about what thiamine actually does and what it does not do. That distinction is the reason so many people try it and feel nothing. Vitamin B1, thiamine, is essential for nerve function and for the body's ability to produce cellular energy efficiently. Without adequate thiamine, nerve conduction slows, and the metabolic processes that keep the nervous system running cleanly begin to falter. I want to be precise here. Thiamine is not a sedative and it is not a direct sleep aid. Its role is more fundamental than that. It is a coenzyme, meaning it enables other processes to happen. When thiamine is present in sufficient amounts, nerve cells can generate energy efficiently, and the biochemical environment that supports calm, regulated nervous system activity is easier to maintain. So think of it less as a remedy and more as a foundation, one piece of a larger picture. Now, here is an important point that I want to state honestly. True thiamine deficiency, in the clinical sense, is most commonly associated with specific conditions. Chronic heavy alcohol use, which both depletes thiamine and impairs its absorption, and significant malnutrition. It is not a silent epidemic in otherwise healthy older adults eating regular meals. If your diet includes a reasonable variety of whole foods, legumes, whole grains, lean meats, nuts, your thiamine intake is likely adequate. Where thiamine becomes more relevant as a supportive consideration is in people whose diets are heavily processed, who consume alcohol regularly, or who have conditions or take medications that genuinely impair absorption or increase urinary losses. In those situations, supporting thiamine levels makes physiological sense. And for those people, what thiamine supports is not sedation. It is the nervous system's baseline capacity to regulate itself, healthy nerve function, efficient cellular energy, the metabolic groundwork that allows the brain to do what it should do during sleep, manage signals, suppress what is not urgent, and protect the depth and continuity of rest. So think of it less as a remedy and more as a foundation, one piece of a larger picture, and that picture has another critical component, one that works alongside thiamine and may, for many people, be equally or more important. I will get to it shortly, but first, the moment I promised you. Before I go further, I want to speak to you directly for a moment. If you have ever sat in an appointment and felt like you received a solution, but not an explanation, a prescription, but not the reasoning behind it, that gap is exactly what the eternal Vigor way is built to close. Every week, I bring you the kind of depth that a 10-minute appointment simply cannot hold. Not to replace your doctor, but to make sure you walk into every conversation with your health fully informed, fully present, and asking better questions. If that is the kind of medicine you have been looking for, subscribe right now and turn on the notification bell. Because what I share next week connects directly to what you are learning today, and I do not want you to miss it. Now, back to what wakes you up and why the timing might be telling you more than you think. If you are going to support your body's sleep quality through any approach, there are 4 principles that determine whether that approach actually works. These apply whether you are addressing stress, nutrition, or environment. Principle 1: timing matters more than dose. For nutritional support, afternoon intake, 2 to 3 hours before sleep, allows the body to process and integrate without interfering with the natural wind-down process at bedtime. Taking anything stimulating too close to sleep can work against you. Principle 2: adequacy, not excess. More is not better. The nervous system needs the right amount consistently, not large, irregular doses. For thiamine specifically, the amounts studied in a supportive context are moderate, typically 50 to 100 milligrams per day in standard form. Always discuss supplementation with your own physician, particularly if you are on medications, as interactions matter. Principle 3: consistency over intensity. The nervous system does not change overnight. If anxiety, disrupted sleep patterns, or long-term nutritional gaps have shaped the way your body behaves at night, the correction will be gradual. 4 to 12 weeks of consistent, gentle intervention is a realistic frame, not a failure. Think of it the way you would think of any rehabilitation. The body learns in repetition, not in single dramatic events. Principle 4. Regularity sends a signal. The nervous system responds to predictability. A consistent schedule, consistent sleep time, consistent nutrition, consistent wind down gradually communicates to the body that it is safe to release its vigilance. Chaos keeps the system alert. Rhythm invites it to rest. These are not complicated ideas, but they require patience, and patience requires understanding why. Now, here's the piece I promised you, the one that, when I first encountered the research, genuinely surprised me. The timing of your nighttime awakenings is not random. If you consistently wake between 1 and 3 in the morning, that is information. If it is reliably around 4 or 5, that too is meaningful. Here is why. The body operates on a circadian rhythm, a 24-hour biological clock that coordinates the activity of every organ system. And within that clock, different organs have peak activity windows. During the night, while you sleep, essential maintenance is underway. The liver, for example, reaches peak enzymatic activity in the early hours of the morning, roughly 1 to 3 a.m. This is when it is most actively processing metabolic byproducts, performing detoxification through a complex cascade of enzymes, and managing the clearing work that keeps the blood clean. The liver is an extraordinarily sophisticated organ, and its nighttime work is metabolically intensive. Later, around 4 to 5 a.m., adrenal activity begins to rise. The adrenal glands initiate a gentle increase in cortisol, preparing the body to gradually transition toward waking. In a healthy, well-regulated system, this rise is gradual enough that you sleep right through it, waking naturally only when it peaks in the early morning. But when the nervous system is dysregulated, when sleep is shallow, when anxiety is chronic, when the body's internal signaling is noisy, these natural biological events become triggers for awakening. The liver's activity becomes loud enough to stir you. The cortisol rise pulls you out of sleep an hour or two earlier than it should. Here is where thiamine enters this picture specifically. It functions as a cofactor in several of the enzymatic pathways involved in liver metabolism. It is not the primary driver. The liver operates through an enormously complex network of enzymes and processes, but it is a meaningful supporting player. When thiamine is adequate, those metabolic processes can run more smoothly and more quietly. Not because thiamine fixes the liver, but because it helps the enzymatic environment function as it should. Similarly, the adrenal system's nighttime activity is influenced by the overall state of the nervous system. A nervous system that is well-nourished, well-supported, and not chronically overtaxed will make that early morning cortisol rise gentler, smoother, less likely to pierce through the thin membrane of light sleep and drag you awake. What this means practically, your wake-up time is not just a symptom to manage. It is a signal worth reading. And when you read it carefully, it can tell you quite precisely where the imbalance lives and what kind of support is most likely to help. No discussion of nervous system regulation and sleep would be complete without magnesium. Magnesium works through a different but complementary pathway. It directly promotes the relaxation of smooth muscle, including the muscle of the bladder wall, and it supports the nervous system's ability to downshift by facilitating the activity of inhibitory neurotransmitters like GABA. In practical terms, adequate magnesium helps the nervous system let go of tension that it has been holding all day. Many adults have insufficient dietary magnesium. Not necessarily a clinical deficiency, but a gap between what the body needs and what it is consistently receiving. This is worth knowing because magnesium is one of the more evidence-supported nutritional supports for sleep quality and nervous system regulation. Foods rich in magnesium include dark leafy greens, pumpkin seeds, almonds, black beans, and avocado. If you are considering a supplement, magnesium glycinate and magnesium malate are among the gentler forms for most people. As always, speak with your physician first, especially if you have kidney conditions or take medications, as magnesium supplementation is not appropriate for everyone. Beyond nutrition, 3 environmental adjustments complete the picture. A screen-free transition of at least 30 minutes before bed matters, not as a wellness suggestion, but as neuroscience. Blue light actively suppresses melatonin and keeps the nervous system in a state of alert processing. Room temperature. The body needs to lower its core temperature to initiate and maintain deep sleep. A cooler room, around 18 to 20 degrees Celsius, works with that biology rather than against it. And daytime hydration. Distribute your fluid intake across the morning and midday hours. Reducing intake after 6 in the evening is not about deprivation. It is about giving the kidneys less nighttime work to do. None of these require money or extraordinary effort, but together they create conditions where the nervous system has a real chance to do what it is designed to do. I want to be completely honest with you about what is realistic and about when this conversation is not enough. If the root of your nighttime waking is anxiety, chronic stress, or a sleep disorder like sleep apnea, no nutritional supplement will solve it. These are fundamental drivers that require their own attention, sometimes therapy, sometimes sleep study evaluation, sometimes targeted breathing interventions. Magnesium and thiamine can support the environment, but they cannot do the work that only direct treatment can do. If the cause is diabetes, heart disease, or significant prostate issues, again, those conditions need proper medical management. What I have described today is supportive for people whose primary issue is functional nervous system dysregulation affecting sleep quality. It is not a substitute for evaluation of the underlying conditions that produce nocturia. When should you see a doctor without delay? If you experience burning or pain during urination, if there is any blood in your urine, if you have a fever, lower back or abdominal pain, or unexplained weight loss alongside your sleep disruption. These are not symptoms to wait out. They require evaluation. For those whose situation is more functional, shallow sleep, easily triggered awakenings, a nervous system that never fully quiets, the approach I have described today is worth exploring, with patience and consistency as your guide. The improvements, when they come, are gradual, but they are real. And they are built on something the body itself has restored, not something imposed on it from outside. Before I close, I want to ask you something. How long have you been accepting this? Not just the broken sleep, but the story that comes with it. That this is simply what getting older looks like. That nothing can really change. I have watched people let go of that story. And what happens when they do, when they approach their own biology with curiosity instead of resignation, with patience instead of frustration, is genuinely moving to witness. If this video gave you a clearer picture of what is actually happening inside you at night, subscribe to the Eternal Vigor Way. Share this with someone in your life who has been struggling and doesn't know where to start. Sometimes the right explanation, arriving at the right moment, is the thing that finally opens the door. We are here every week, and we always go deeper than the surface. You have been tired for long enough. Not just physically tired of not understanding, tired of trying things that don't work because no one explained the actual mechanism, tired of being handed a solution without being given the reasoning. Sleep is not a luxury. It is the biological foundation on which everything else is built. Your cardiovascular health, your immune function, your cognitive clarity, your emotional resilience, your capacity to be fully present for the people and the life that matter to you. When you understand your body, not in general, but specifically at the level of what is actually happening and why, you stop fighting it. You start working with it. And the body, given the right conditions consistently, responds, not overnight, but always, in time. I am Dr. Ava Collins. Take care of your sleep, because it is taking care of everything else. I will see you in the next video.